What do you recommend for contour and concealer? Which brands are the best for beginners? Okay, so I've already gone ahead, done my base layer, and I've gone in and placed my concealer already. The reason why I've gone in and placed my concealer in the inner corner, the outer corner, a little bit around the nose, in the cleft of my chin, and then up here is because I use my concealer for concealing as well as highlighting. Now, I always recommend you start off with a liquid concealer, something that is lightweight, because the less thick the consistency it is, the easier it is to work with, especially when you're a beginner. So you want to look for something that's a little more lightweight, especially if you like to bring your foundation all the way up to your under eye area, or if you're using color corrector, less is more there. So I go ahead and I mark out all the places that I want my concealer to be, and then I kind of just leave it there for a couple minutes. And the reason why I leave it there is so it can get nice and tacky, and that way it's going to be easier to maneuver into the skin and it'll last a little bit longer all day. Some brands that I absolutely love are MAC. This is a MAC Studio Fix 24-hour wear concealer. I have this one on now. Another one of my favorites is NATASHA DENONA's new concealer. And if an oldie but a goodie is the NARS Creamy Radiance Concealer. So if you're looking for something that's more towards the budget friendly, the L'Oreal True Match, the one that has the hyaluronic acid in it, the serum, this is a really beautiful lightweight concealer, especially when you're anywhere between your like 30s and up. This is going to be something that's really super light, still full coverage, but it's really hydrating and it blends out. So once I've placed that there, I'm going to go in with either a powder contour or a cream contour. I don't recommend liquid contour because I feel like that gets a little bit muddy. Now for beginners, powder contour is probably the easiest, but a lot of people like to do cream contour. When you're picking your contour or your concealer shades, you're going to want to go 2 shades lighter than your skin tone for concealer, and then 2 shades darker for your contour. Now contour is supposed to be a cool tone color, so you don't want anything that's going to look like orange or super warm on your skin tone. You want something that's a little bit more gray tone, like this one. This is the Makeup by Mario. This is in light. It's their, what is this one called? Their SoftSculpt sticks. So a lot of beginners go right in with the stick, and because they see it online. You don't need a lot of contour. Contour is just there to kind of lift and sculpt the face. Anywhere where you're going to be placing contour is where you're going to be recessing, and anywhere where you're placing concealer or highlighter, that's going to be brought forward. So that's just important to remember. Now when you're going to be using a contour stick, you're not going to go straight to the face because that's usually way too much. Instead, what you're going to do is take it on the back of your hand and warm it up. And that's probably way too much for my face. And then you're going to want to go in with a brush or a sponge, and I'm going to show you where to place it. So I'm going to go in with my brush, and I'm just going to start picking the product up the back of my hand. And remember, anywhere where you put your brush, that's going to be the place where the most pigment and the most product is deposited. So you don't want to start your contour in the middle of your face and swipe back. When you're doing a cheek contour, you're going to want to find where your cheekbone is, and then you're actually going to want to do the contour line on top of your cheekbone and not under it, because this way it's going to lift the face. Sometimes you do it a little bit too low and it can really drag the face down. As well as stopping don't go any further than your iris. If you're looking forward, you don't want to bring the contour out any further than like that point on your face. You can also take your brush and go right in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right back on my hairline, and I'm going to go on my actual cheekbone, and I'm actually not going to bring it any further than the tail end of my eyebrow because I want mine to be really lifted and subtle. So that's what I have right there. Now I'm not going to drag it down when I blend it out. I'm actually just going to blend it up a little bit. You can bring it more forward if that's fine. It all depends on your face shape, and wherever your face shape is where you're going to place your contour. You don't need to have crazy contour everywhere. To blend it out even further, I like to go in with a beauty blender or a beauty sponge. This one is the size of my face. I don't know why I have it this big. But when you are blending, you're going to be doing stippling motions, and you're not going to be dragging it down or dragging it back and forth. Stippling is just basically bouncing a damp sponge back and forth. You can also use a dry sponge. It all depends on your preference, but I find it's easier to use a damp sponge. Now, anywhere you apply the contour on to like the bottom or the top of your face, you're basically kind of smushing your face down. So if you don't have a big forehead, you do not need to be taking your contour all the way down to your eyebrows. What you can be doing is just simply applying a little bit here and a little bit here. Again, you're not going to be dragging it down. You're going to be blending it back into the hairline. You're just going to be creating a little bit of structure, and a little bit of like warmth to the face. But again, you don't need to be doing the whole freaking forehead. I don't know why I see some people with no forehead and they take it all the way across like a moon. To me, that's too much. I'm just blending any lines out with the Beauty Blender. Now for contour on your jawline, you don't want to take it up onto your jawline like you did with the cheekbone. You want it underneath, and you want it to stay in the shadow. And if you want a really snatched jawline, what you're going to do is you're going to take it, put it at the corner of your face, bring it down your neck a little bit, and then just a little bit there. And then that automatically gives you more of a more naturally defined jawline instead of taking and swiping it all the way down. So just kind of in that little area there. Now it's usually at this point I'll take a different sponge and I'm going to go in and kind of just blend out all of my concealer. Or you can just use the opposite end of your beauty sponge. That's what I'm doing here. Now once I have blended out my concealer, I'm going to go in and go into a bronzer that's powder, and I'm just going to set all of that cream contour. And I just use stippling motions. That way it kind of makes it transfer proof and it just stays in place all day. Now I'm going to go in and just kind of set my concealer, and before I do that, I'm always going to tap it out with my finger, see if anything settled into any fine lines or creases, and you can look up and just tap with your ring finger lightly. And then as soon as you're done, go in with your pressed or loose powder and just kind of set that in place. Again, I'm going to go in with my finger just to kind of warm up any product, tap out anything that needs to be blended out. When you look up, you're opening the eye, so it gives it a little bit more of an area to kind of tap out any of the product that's collected in any of the crease. Again, and then I go right in with my pressed powder right after. Sorry, this video is so long now. Okay, so for contour, brands that I recommend the most are probably Makeup by Mario, Milk Makeup, anything from Liz Wache if you're Canadian, as well as Charlotte Tilbury. If you want something that's more affordable, budget friendly, NYX has butter bronze. No, I don't think they're called butter bronzers. Anyways, NYX came out with this whole line of bronzers. They're amazing. You can try that for powder. They also have a cream stick that you can use, which is really good. But again, I am not too familiar with any cream sticks from the drugstore, to be 100% honest. And anything from the Nude Sticks line, they're Canadian as well. Let's try those for anything to do with like cream, whether it's like blush or contour, even like they have really amazing like eye sticks and stuff. Now, I'm completely off topic. I hope this video really helps you, and if you guys are still watching, thank you. I know I talk a lot and I gotta learn to condense these into smaller ones. But if you have any questions, go click on this comment and go back to the original video, and I will try to make a video answering your beauty questions. Bye guys.